Hi, everybody. It wouldn't be West Ham Network if I forgot to change the screen. Russ and West Ham. Russ from Miami. No, West Ham Network. Mine was 11. What's going on? I'm getting all emotional at Mark Noble already. I don't know how to handle it already. Russ and West Ham Network. Hope you're all safe and well. If you're new, Andy, give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, give it a bloody good subscribe, give it a like if you're thankful of the service that Mark Noble's delivered. So if you don't give it a like, you're not thankful. There you go. Um, in terms of what we're going to do today, we're going to be talking about Mark Noble, and we're going to have your say, your opportunities to come on and talk about your memories, your thoughts about Mark. Obviously, on Sunday it will be the last time he walks out on that West Ham pitch. As a West Ham player, obviously not necessarily the pitch because obviously he's coming back for Soccer Aid in about 3 weeks' time. It doesn't really help matters. But the last time ever, 18 years of the club, 548 games. 62 goals, definitely 62 goals. I saw the club put 63. I'm pretty sure it's 62 goals. Puts him joint sixth at the moment of West Ham's all-time appearances, on par with Jimmy Ruffle, I think. So hopefully he'll surpass that, and we'll get some game time on Sunday. Hopefully, don't know how long, but we'll see. And obviously with Brighton away as well. Let's bring in Holly. She's come back. We didn't scare her off last time.
Never. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Good week. Busy.
Yeah, great week. Always busy. Loving it.
Always busy. And then obviously now we've got Sunday. How are you going to cope?
Not very well, I think. I was nearly welling up at the little intro you had there. So I'm expecting to be a blubbering mess on Sunday, but I'm not ashamed to say it.
No, I think everyone's going to be the same. I mean, for a lot of people, I was thinking about it today. It's like there's a certain generation where with Nobes, he's always been there. It's like and so they'll always be associated. Mark Noble with their West Ham journey, and although players come and go, he's been the constant for the last 18 years, really. So it's going to be a huge thing. I think some people are a little bit sort of not blasé to it, but I think because for an older generation, they were used to Billy Bonds at 799 and Bobby Moore and Trevor Brooking, but for the sort of even from sort of my age onwards, really, there hasn't been someone who's been there for a prolonged period of time over 18 years. I mean, it's mental, isn't it?
Exactly. And you see it so rarely as well now that like one player will stick at one club. And like you're saying, for me, Mark Noble's been at the centre of my whole journey with West Ham, and sort of comprehending what it would look like without him playing such a big role is very scary.
It is, but also I think we've and typical Nobes, the way he sort of said, whenever it was when he made the announcement that he was okay, I'm this is gonna be my last season, that type of thing. And the fact he hasn't played consistently for the last 18 months, I think it sort of lessens the blow a little bit, I think. Yeah. But I think it's off the pitch what he brings, or what we'll lose indefinitely when he's gone. He's not gone. He's not died or anything, but he's like, he's like it feels a bit like it, doesn't it? It feels horrible, absolutely horrible at the moment. In the chat, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to put the link to the chat. If you want to come on and talk about Mark Noble, feel free to do so. We've got some great names in there, so let's say hello to a few people. So here we go. Right, let's go down here a bit. Got Hammer. He's not very happy. Look, he's crying already. Gazza's in the house. Hope you're well, Gazza. Luke, hope you're well. Ludders, hope you're well. Toby's all ears, but he's driving. Nobody's a legend, nothing short, indeed. And it is when you look at it. I mean, you look at, like, as I said, looking at the people that where's my things? I was looking at the all-time list of players in terms of games for West Ham. You've got Billy Bonds at 799, Frank Lampard Senior, Bobby Moore, Trevor Brooking, Alvin Martin, then Mark Noble.
Yeah.
And it's like
in with all those names.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot of people there, isn't there? And it's like you see that, and it's just and it is a good point what Usual Suspect says. It's about loyalty, and you look at it, and Billy Bonds won a few things at West Ham. Frank Lampard Senior won a few things at West Ham. Bobby Moore won a few things at West Ham. Sadly, Trevor Brooking, Alvin did. Mark Noble ain't. Hasn't won an FA Cup. Hasn't won anything in Europe. Hasn't the highest. That's what I mean. And he's still there. He's still been there.
The loyalty is there.
He is, and I mean, he's always got those things. I mean, yeah, as Greg said, when he carried off Herrera in the last game, that was brilliant. That was hilarious. That was
It just
hilarious.
shows passion, doesn't it? For like, that's one of the greatest memories that I have of Mark Noble. Just seeing him, just casually scoop him up and try and run off with him.
Yeah, it was quite funny. Oh, he's got a Hammers Bakes. Best memory of Mark is that 2016 season. Pyatt raised everyone's eyebrows. Like, yeah, I think the best Mark Noble. You're totally right. And obviously that was the year when we all thought he was going to get into the England squad, weren't it? When they sort of lined him up with all the other England players in terms of their stats, and he was by far the best English midfielder in the country. Didn't get called up.
On the brink, constantly on the brink.
Exactly, yeah. Sharky, when he scored a last-minute penalty against Liverpool to win the game, absolute scenes. Yeah. Oh, could you imagine if we get a penalty?
Oh, please, can we just win the game, get a penalty, bring him on for the penalty and play him for the rest of the game or something like that? That'd be dreams.
Because it worked the other. It didn't work the other time, did it? When he brought him on for that last-minute penalty, but.
Other than that, though, I'm still confident with him taking a penalty. And I'll take him over any of our other players taking a pen any day.
But that was the thing, like the other day, wasn't it? When Lanzini, when we got the penalty for Norwich, and I was like, he's going to bring on Noble, and like, no, then Lanzini takes it. Oh, well, I suppose, you're right.
That makes sense.
I mean, in 2020, he had the second highest conversion rate penalties over the last 20 years. I think they said. I think it was almost 91% conversion rate, just below. I think it was Lewandowski at 91.1 or something ridiculous like that. It's crazy. So crazy stats. I mean, he's played over 40,000 minutes at West Ham, which is about a month solid.
No wonder he's tired.
No wonder he's tired. He's knackered. He's 35. He shouldn't really have a couple more years in him, to be honest. But yeah, and no one forgets. Obviously, he started his career at Arsenal youth team, but couldn't get to training in time because he was from Canning Town. So he ended up signing for West Ham, and the rest was history. Kent, we love Kent. Kent won the Noble quiz the other day. There's no other player that Mark Noble in my lifetime. I was at the first home game, first away game, and his last game and away day. Wonderful servant. You're totally right, my friend, Kent. You're totally right. I think you're in the same generation as me, and there hasn't been one who's been around so long that he has. I don't think there's not many at all to me. Paul's in the chat, Rob's in the chat, Gazza's there. Knows we're the last of one club generation, real integrity. No modern players have that. Oh, debates. Shots fired by Trini. I think it's money though. I think it's not about loyalty. It's about money now. I think when we've interviewed. I mean. We've interviewed players like, Alan Dickens and Tony Gale, and even earlier like Brian Deers, and they weren't paid fantastic amounts of money back in those days. So it was a bit more loyalty. They would offer the same type of money from club to club, but it's just. But I don't begrudge players moving on. Do you? Because it's such a small career, and it's like, and. They just need to earn as much money as they can. The same as us. We wouldn't say you wouldn't stay in the same job, and if you could go to another job, another company, and earn twice as much, would you?
No, exactly. I think it's the same argument with Rice, that fans are expecting him to leave at some point. However loyal and great he is for the club, you sort of look at it as almost like a stepping stone, as horrible as that is. Massive shame it's not like that, but the game's just changed a lot, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. It has changed a lot, and I think, and someone's put in the chat. What about Steve Potts and Alvin Martin? Rush, you're not that old, but Alvin, I was towards the end of his career. I got into West Ham, and Steve Potts probably around the same as well. Well, maybe Pottsy, but he'd started just before I started playing. I started getting into West Ham. Let's bring on Kieran. It's night time over there. Yes, good day, sport.
Good day, mate. How you doing, Russ?
Very well. You got his shrimps on the barbie.
Mate, yeah, I just pulled up the steak off the barbie, mate. I've done a nice meal. I didn't even get to medium rare. I've done 2 minutes, whack it, nice and rare. It was absolutely gorgeous. Yeah.
Delicious.
He does.
There you go.
There we go. Lovely stuff. Kira, obviously over there in Australia, but doesn't matter. Claret and Blue, wherever we are in the world. Mark Noble, man. Now, obviously, no disrespect, Kieran, but you've lived through the Billy Bonds, the Trevor Brooking. Yeah. What's different with Mark? Look, when you've gone through Bonds being there for so long in his career, all his life, and Trevor Brooking,
And then you go through a period of time where you realise that's never going to happen again. It really isn't. You know, this is going to be so rare in a game of football from now on. And for Mark Noble to achieve it now, in this era, it is really special. It's really special because I don't believe it'll happen again in any club. I think it's going to be the rarest thing you'll ever see. Now, what's special about it, when you see his leadership qualities that Billy Bonds had and Bobby Moore had, you know, in our time. And, you know, when you hear about, I love the little stories about him cleaning the dressing room up, you know, after a game.
Yeah.
Like, who does that in the modern day football as we know it now? Who would do that?
Yeah.
You know,
true.
this is an example to the young kids coming through, and there's no better example than that. And I love it, mate. I love to see that young lad. Like, he's got old sort of school head on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's living in a modern day football era. I love it.
No, you're totally right, man. You're totally right. I think he's. I think that's why. I think there's, and also I think that's why we sort of endeared to a bit of Declan Rice in that respect, because he has that sort of old school mentality about him. And I think Mark very much is the man of a generation. You can, East End boy, plays for his boyhood club, captains his boyhood club, lives, as I said before, lives our lifelong dream and goal to wear that shirt once, and he's done it almost 550 times. You know what I mean? So.
Exactly. And plus, as you know, he suffered and enjoyed every moment we did because he's a West Ham fan, right? Yeah. He suffered as much as us and enjoyed as much as us. Most of it was suffering, we know, but lately, I can imagine him sitting back there and watching the last two seasons where he's had more of a, back on in the changing room role, expiring the team and been on the bench a bit more, but enjoying the ride as well, enjoying the team that's out there, and enjoying the fact that we've had two great seasons, and it doesn't bother him that he's not a major part of it. And I'd imagine he'd be the first player to say, "Don't put me on, against Man City unless you think I'm the man for the job." Yeah, I think he'd be the first man to say that. And that tells me everything.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I don't think there's any where others have had sort of sentimental appearances. Looking at like John Terry, wasn't John Terry taken on or substituted or something like on the 26th minute or some shit like that? That's not Mark. Mark will be like, no, because we still.
I think he'd find that annoying.
Yeah, it would annoy him, and because we've still got so much to play for, haven't we? We've still got that top six to play for. It's in our hands, so he's not going to be sort of sentimental. It'd be interesting to see how. I think the general idea is he's going to get sort of a guard of honor at the beginning, and obviously if he comes on, because I don't expect him to start against Man City, to be perfectly honest. I don't think he does either. But we'll be doing some sort of presentation at the end, and obviously there'll be all the pre-match videos and stuff. I think a bunch of his players he's played with will be at the ground as well, as you can imagine. He's played with over 225, I think we did. So it's a hell of a lot of players. I don't think they'll all be there. I don't think you'll see the likes of Gokhan Toure or Jonathan Calleri turn up, or Roberto. We can reel off. I mean, you make a good point. Whereas someone like Billy Bond, some of the players he played with, you look at some of the dross that he's had to play with, and he has. I mean, went through all of them. 225. There was some crap he's played with. But I totally agree. Yeah, but I totally agree what you mean in terms of he must have looked back with this last couple of years with just how we've looked, because he's a fan, same as us, isn't it?
It's absolutely, yeah. And it's been a good ride for all of us, isn't it? The last two seasons, and in my lifetime, Russ, I don't remember two consistent seasons like we've got now.
No.
So, and definitely not in Noble's playing career, there hasn't been. He knows that, and he's been part of that, going, gee, why can't we get it together for two seasons? And now we have. And I'm sure he's going, wow, this is good. This is, we don't normally experience this, and now we are. And I'm sure he's enjoying the ride as much. He's probably hoping, wishing that he was probably 10 years younger now.
Because it seems to be in this. He's got into this sort of in sort of this sort of new regime in it, and so he's probably slightly slightly sort of bittersweet that we're sort of doing it towards the end of his career. But you're totally right. I mean,
Come a bit late.
if we finish 6th or we finish 7th, it's the first time ever we finished in the top 6th or 7th in the top division ever in consecutive seasons, and the first time ever I think it's the first time ever we've if we qualify for the conference or the Europa League, first time ever we've qualified for Europe in 2 consecutive seasons as well, I believe as well. So yeah, it ain't too bad. Luke's asked, will Carlos Sanchez be giving a speech? Yeah, of course, yeah. Carlos Sanchez will be there. Savio, they'll all be there. They'll be there, bless them. What we got here? What we got here? We've got B. Mikey's has been with us through some amazing highs and a number of very low points. Always put a shift in, never give up on the club, and I'm so glad the club never gave up on him. Great shout. I mean, it's not many. The fact is, he's had a series of managers over the last period, and all have picked him.
Yeah.
I know. There you go, Russ. Sorry, Don, carry on.
No. So I was just saying, it says a lot about a player to be chosen by every single manager that comes in. It shows the leadership that he's got, because it's not an easy feat to be picked again and again by all these different managers.
No. I mean, he's been under. So obviously, Pardew gave him his debut. He's been under Zola. He's been under Kirbishley. He's been under Avram Grant. Sam Allardyce, Slav, Pellegrini, David Moyes twice. That's 9, 8 so managers.
Unlike me, I bet he's not got a bad word to say about any of them.
Do you know what? He had a really. I was reading an article about him the other day. He's an interview he did about Big Sam and how much he loved Big Sam, and
Wow.
And that's sort of quite, as you said, that's probably one of the ones you'd probably sort of said you didn't, weren't too keen on. But he just said how much he brought to the table and how much he changed the club. And you think when he took over, we were in the Championship, and he came in and got us back up there, and we haven't looked back since. Again, this is the longest period we haven't been relegated.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
So. It's not
professionalism as well that he shows on and off the pitch. I think that's really what you need in the dressing room, because nowadays with football, you obviously get a lot of young players coming in. It's all new. They're suddenly earning loads of money. Having someone that can kind of ground a team in the way that I feel Nobes can is so important. And that's why I really hope he gets sort of some rather involved role in the background, because what he brings to a team, even when he's not playing, massive.
Yeah. Absolutely. We seem to have this amazing backroom staff as it is, and if you throw Noble into that mix with Nolan and Pierce, you go, wow, that's getting even better. That's great. Yeah,
well, it's true. I mean, we had Tony Khan a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about the backroom staff, and he was saying how there's been to be fair, he says probably after he left. Obviously, you've got guys like Pellegrini came in, and it sort of lost its way a bit from being about West Ham. Now, obviously, Moyes coming back in and building this group of obviously his backroom staff, but obviously the academy. You look at how many ex-players are involved in the academy now. All the way from obviously Kenny Brown to Colton to Jimmy to Zavon to Potsy to Kevin Keane. They're all getting involved, and it just
and it's not a West Ham feel, isn't it? Then even Konchesky with the ladies team.
He's now ladies for. He's now the captain. He's now the manager where he was assistant manager. But I think with them, they have this sort of like there's a West Ham DNA in it, and that's why I think for me, next step for Mark would be to actually go into not necessarily coaching, but to go into sort of recruitment, because he knows more than anyone what it means to be a West Ham player. So we've got Rob Newman there now. I'd love him to spend a few years with Rob Newman. I'm not telling him what to do, but because he's got a very, very successful property portfolio as well, so he's doing all right for himself. But I would stay with Rob Newman for a couple of years, understand the business of football. He knows about the football business, but not the business of football. And then end up looking at and then taking over being director of football or whatever. You know what I mean? So I think that'd be absolutely brilliant, and we'd all really, really love that, to be honest. Right, I had where's a question for where is it? Where is it, Dan? Kieran, give us a quick time check, and what's the weather like?
Time is it's nearly 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
it's been raining for 3 days, Russ. The other big rains have come back, but it's still about, I don't know, still 18, 20 degrees. It's not cold.
Great weather update.
That's all right. That's
We're
right.
coming in the winter, though. It will
Yeah,
get colder. But
it
we
is
are
winter.
coming in the winter.
It is winter. Darren's in Thailand, so there we go. We are global.
Darren,
Yeah, good old Darren. Right. Noble started out in the Great Escape season, finishing when we qualify for Europe for the six. Great shout, actually. Yeah. I mean, he properly established himself in that. Well, a couple of years on, it was the 05. That was the 05-06 season. He made his debut in 04. But yeah, he sort of came into the squad properly in the Great Escape season, where we were just, last game, skin of our teeth at Man United, and now we're vying for Man United for that sixth spot. It's a nice sort of like cyclical thing there, isn't it?
There's a bit of chemistry to that.
I like it.
I know, Russ. He done something with a Hammers 11 yesterday. I don't know where he got that.
Good idea, isn't it? That's a good idea, isn't it?
I don't know where he got that idea from.
It's a good idea.
But it was very interesting to see who he picked, and I thought our Aussie boy at right back was a good choice.
Yeah, I think Lucas Neal is very underrated, and that, I mean, when we interviewed people around that time, like I think Anton Ferdinand, a few others who are around that sort of like Great Escape era, say what an influence he made as a captain. And the thing is, Mark, you can see, because Mark's got these little bits. I mean, apparently Lucas Neal, when he came into the club, the first thing he did was every time the team would win, he'd go around and get, I think, like 50 quid out of their hand, because obviously they'll get a win bonus, and he'd give it to the tea lady and the kit man.
Wow.
And you can see, as you said, when Nobes was sweeping the things like that just imprint, and see how Scott Parker would literally at times, when he was a captain, he wasn't even captain really half the time, Matt Upson was. But that sort of captain's attitude, Kevin Nolan, you see all these little bits, and he's passing all that knowledge on to Declan Rice. There's a reason why Declan Rice, I think, is such a good club captain, because of Mark Noble.
I saw the other day as well, Johnson made a comment saying that when Noble wasn't around to sweep up the dressing room after, he did it. And it catches on, and it gets
exactly. It does. And that's what it's about, isn't it? It's teaching the youth, to give them some kind of a structure of how you should behave as a professional footballer, and which just isn't happening at Man United, which I'm quite happy with.
Yeah, I think we're all quite happy about that, to be honest, Kieran. I think we're all quite happy about that, to be honest. As I said, he's played more Premier League games than anyone else at West Ham. I think he's in front of people like Gerrard and people like that in terms of Premier League appearances. I think he is, until he currently still is, the longest serving player in Europe, I think, in terms of for one club. I think it was Messi. He was tied with Messi, but obviously Messi moved to PSG. So I think he's the most longest serving club person. I don't know, but anyway, it sounds impressive. What we said, Nobe should be haircut advisor. He's got a lovely haircut. Yeah, Mark's lovely head of hair. I was very, very jealous with his haircut. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun. We're going to see lots of hopefully his teammates walking around the stadium and stuff as well. I don't know exactly who's going to be there, but there'll be quite a few of them, I think. So that'll be good.
When you think about it, Russ, the absolute quality that he played for in that era that he's been there, the likes of Tevez and Di Canio and Yossi Benayoun, God, the amount of quality he's had around him at certain stages of his career must be phenomenal, really. Some phenomenal players.
Yeah, I mean, he has played with some great. I mean, he said he played with some Dross. He's played with some great players and different eras of players. I mean, he's played with the likes of Yoshi Benayoun or Dimitri Payet, or these types of very skillful, tricky players. He played with Carlos Tevez, obviously. Never played on the pitch with Mascherano, but played with Tevez, because obviously Mascherano, Hayden Mullins was better than Mascherano, of course. Says Alan Pardew. God bless chocolate. And what did I say? Because I text Pards. Well, he said something about. I asked him about Mark, and he said, "Oh, absolutely." He forgot that he gave me his debut. Yeah. Sorry, forgot about that. Nobes is a legend. Oh, great, brilliant. But yeah, so so I think with that, with Tevez, he played. Then he played with guys like like Ginger Pele and Tompkins and these sort of real like body on the line. Craig Dawson, he's very much in that ilk as well. Body on the line.
Winston Reid.
Yeah,
he
Winnie
saw
Reid,
Winston Reid come in as really a rookie and really he was very average. And his progression from when he started at West Ham, because I remember him over here playing for New Zealand. And, he was a decent centre half for New Zealand, but, in an average team. And he went to West Ham, I was delighted. And then he looked really, really average. But his progression from being average to what he'd become at West Ham was fantastic. And, Nobes has witnessed all that and going, well. And I remember it, when he picked his 11, Russ, that's what he said. He said, wow, his progression was fabulous. He became a great player, and he picked him as one of his centre halves.
Yeah, no, exactly, and he was, well, Willie was a great player, wasn't he? He was a great player. That was a good, I mean, it's so obviously he scored his first Premier League goal. It was against Tottenham as well. That we lost that famous game, but that was what springboarded us in terms of the Great Escape. He scored some really important goals for us. People talk about that banger against Leicester a couple of seasons ago. He's always been reliable. Yeah, he might not, particularly in the recent. But what I like about Mark was when you always thought he was going off the boil, he would then just go up a gear. It was like there's a few games where he was like, I think Nobody's legs are gone, and then he'll play 90 minutes.
It's all over. But no.
That mindset, isn't it? You just know he'll never give up as well. That's the other thing, that if you do need somebody to spur the team on or to get everyone organised again, I'd always feel pretty confident that bringing him on could do that.
Yeah, no worries. Holly's got to go. She's got to go. See you. I've just got. Sorry, I just realised. I'll see you.
At all. Lovely
nice to meet you, Holly.
Lovely to meet you as well.
See you later.
He's hoping we can get a nice win on Sunday.
Oh, he's hoping. We'll see you on Friday. See you next week.
Catch up soon. Carol. Enjoy.
Biles. Good old Holes. But yeah, and I think with Mark, I just think he's just. It was the other day. I was thinking. I was putting these pictures together, and just looking at, all those memories, and it's shirts. It's people in memories in certain shirts remind me of certain things, and they're seeing him as a youngster. 2004. I mean, 2004. Facebook was still Mark Zuckerberg's bedroom. Do you know what I mean?
I know. There you go.
It's crazy.
It's an amazing era, isn't it? That you can go that long. You know what I mean? It's hard enough for us supporters to watch it that long at times. And he's had to play and suffer, right? But what a servant. But what I do like, when you see all these pundits now, Russ, talking about Man United, and they go on about how they lack leaders and, forget what they used to have, with Keane and all the rest of them. And I just think, Nobes is just a natural leader. And he's instilled that in Rice. He's going to be a natural leader of players, and it's coming down the line, and we're lucky to have had him. And if he sticks around the club, I think we'll end up engineering more natural leaders in that club, and we'll be a better club for it. Yeah,
I mean, it's a great shout. I mean, you look at it. We've been fortunate. You look at the last. We've always had a leader in the club in the last. We'll say from 2006. We'll say from there. So you had Lucas Neal. Then after Lucas Neal, Scott Parker. After Scott Parker was Kevin Nolan. After Kevin Nolan was Declan or Nobes and Declan. But Nobes has been a constant throughout. So we've always had that. And I totally know what you mean in terms of the. But that's a bit like the old school West Ham, wasn't it? With Greenwood and Lyle. I mean, the fact is Greenwood and Lyle. Greenwood and Ron Greenwood, and then John Lyle taking over, and the amount of teams, you look at that time, how many players went on to be coaches and managers and stuff like that. And it's the same with this now. You look at it, and there's so many players. You look at people like. Yeah, and you look at people like Frank Lampard and stuff like that now. They're managers, and they cut their teeth at West Ham. And I mean, you look at, I said when we had Tony Khan the other day, and he was just going through some of the players that he's been under his stewardship, and how they're still in the game and things like that. But I mean, what I find interesting about Nobes is he's always, and I think my memory of Noble is a memory which no one else has got. Which I'm very, very thankful of. So obviously during lockdown, I was still doing this, and I've mentioned this several times on the channel. I was still doing the games. For some reason, they still had all the ads and stuff, but there was no fucker watching. But don't matter. So we were still there. So I was in lockdown, still at the stadium, and it was when we beat Chelsea 3-2, and Yarmolenko scored the last minute winner. Now Nobes wasn't in the squad, so he was sitting in the disabled area. That was like the auxiliary squad would sit there because it was 2 meters apart. So obviously you've got the wheelchairs in between. That's what we'd have. So they were sat there, and I was so pissed off afterwards. I should have recorded it, videoed. He was watching the game like you or me would be watching it. So he was watching it as a fan, but at the stadium, kicking every ball, shouting at the ref, celebrating like, a fan. And it was like, do you know what? We know he's a fan, but I actually got to see it firsthand. And I thought, fuck, he is West Ham. And I know he is, but he actually seeing it for real. It's like when you go to away games and, like James Collins will be in the stands or whatever, it's the same thing. And
it is, man. But the modern day footballer, right, and all these people keep saying it's a job to them. It's a job to them. But I don't think it is just a job to the likes of Mark Noble. It's more than just a job. We know it's his job, but he's living it and he loves it, and he's a fan as well. So that gives it more credence to me of him being a West Ham player, because it's more than just a job. And I think what Moyes has done with the West Ham team that we've got now, it seems to be more than just a job for all of them. It's more than just a job. They're part of a group that are enjoying it and working for each other. And it's just more than just a job. And Fornals is an excellent point in case, He's embraced West Ham to me, and wants to be part of the culture, wants to be part of West Ham as a club.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. You're totally right. I think it's as you said, it's taken him 16 years to get to this point. well, until Moyes took over, then it is. But you're right. It's sort of like, and I think that's why I think a lot of the fans have warmed to this new team. Not only performing well, but it's got that sort of, it's got parallels of the old school, parallels of, and I mean, Mark said. Exactly. Mark said on his player awards, he's just, these guys are basically putting a shift in week in, week out. And that's all we want as West Ham fans. And it is. That's literally it. If you try, it ain't your fault. It ain't your fault if you're picked and you're not technically good enough. No, it ain't your fault.
Mate, some of my favourite players, Russ, over the ages were the guys like Jeff Pike and Patsy Holland. They weren't recognised as the greatest players at West Ham, or Tommy Taylor, John McDowell. But my God, they put an effort in. Like, Tommy Taylor was like Dawson is now. He was an old school centre half who put his life on the line to win a ball. They weren't the most gifted players at West Ham, but West Ham fans loved them because they'd make an effort and put their lives on the line for the team. They had 100% effort, good or bad, and fans loved them for it. It didn't have to be. They didn't all have to be Trevor Brooking and Alan Devonshire, and we loved them too because they were that good. But they just had to be 100% in their endeavour in a game, and they were, most of them. And when they weren't, they found out.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, I always say there's West Ham players sit in two sort of camps. It's a bit like a Venn diagram. You've got the Billy Bonds camp and you've got the Trevor Brooking camp, and they're either, as you said, they're either Trevor Brooking skillful, Devonshire, Paye, Joe Cole, and then you've got the Billy Bonds sort of thing. And I'm not comparing like to like, but you've got Billy Bonds, you've got people like Ginger Pele, Dawson. You've got these. I'm not saying Dawson's like Billy Bonds, but in that camp, and then sometimes you get people in the middle. Someone like Di Canio, for example, is in the middle in terms of he has that passion, he has that craziness, that sort of heart on his sleeve, but then he'll have the technical ability as well. And obviously, Mark is very much in that Billy Bonds. He was a grafter. He grafted his way into that squad and grafted his way for the last 18 years. And And yeah, and then, as you said, there's these two camps. I just think it's quite funny, the Venn diagram. I quite enjoy it. I might do a show about it. But yeah, I mean, obviously Mark Noble now, he's retired. I mean, it's a frustration kinda that we've still got sixth to play for in a weird way, because it's almost overshadowing his retirement.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's a bit weird. I know it's sort of a double-edged sword, really, isn't it?
Well, if we were, we were sitting eighth with no chance of getting sixth, well, he's playing, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's starting the last game at the London Stadium against Man City. But the fact is, we still got a chance of finishing sixth. So obviously Moyes wants to play his best team, and no doubt Noble wants to play West Ham's best team to try and achieve it. And he would not. No way, to me, Noble would say, no, I want to play. He's the opposite of that. He'd be going, no, you play the best team to get as a result.
Yeah.
I do believe he will be on at some stage. Whether I know if it's a 1-1 draw in the 88th minute, I know Moyes will be worried about crossing on.
That's the thing, isn't it?
It's a bit of an heart attack, wouldn't it, man?
That is the thing.
But I do believe he'll come on near the end. I think it's a game I think we're going to struggle with. I think there might be a couple of goals up by then. And it might be an easy decision for Moyes to go, right, come on, get him up a level 5 or 10 or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's going to be. I mean, although I quite admire, I like the fact that we are playing City, because there is this sort of mutual thing with West Ham and Man City. The fan base, and so they'll respect that. It's not like if he was playing Spurs or even like a Burnley or someone like that, they haven't got that sort of connection.
Because the older school fans at Man City, like myself, they remember they were worse than us.
Yeah.
They were just up and down, and they were just as rubbish as us at times. And they remember that, and they're in happier times now. But the Man City fans know when it weren't so good. Didn't always have it good. So.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's true, and I think, there's been a lot of players going either way. Isn't it? Obviously, we had Waldy went to City, and then Morley, and I think actually Trev's going to be at the game on Sunday. Actually, he's doing commentary for Norwegian TV. He'll also be on the channel on Wednesday if anyone wants to come on and ask Trevor Morley a question. Doing a live Q&A next Wednesday. God, it's seamless. It's seamless, this place.
Absolutely, mate. Morley.
Seamless. Right, let's see. I know, yeah. Love Trevor Morley. That'd be funny. Right, let's have a few more comments. Ludders has informed me that I've forgotten that he actually has won the Betway Cup. Yep, Mark did win the Betway Cup, you're right. But he didn't lift the trophy. He didn't lift the trophy when we won it. He gave Jamal Baptiste. He handed it to him to lift the trophy. The Mark Noble. Acid joke. You don't play for West Ham for trophies and medals. You play for pride and the badge and the privilege of wearing that shirt. Nobes exemplifies that spirit and has passed it on to the next generation. Acid, you're totally right. That's the old school. And see, look, and there's a tip of a Shiraz there from Kieran for that. Mark Noble leaves a noble mark on the club. Very good, Luke. I like that one. We're going to nick that one. I like that one.
Look at him clever.
Yeah, look at him all clever. Mark started on the right way. He walked home for the first game. From that moment, it was obvious he was going to have the right attitude. And you're right. You look at some of the older players, some of the players. I mean, like Stagg and Bobby Moore. I mean, Stagg used to ride his chopper home from the ground, and they all used to live like in the area and. That's a real old school thing. Obviously, when Mark made his debut against Southend, his mum and dad were on holiday, weren't they? Because he got a call quite late on in the day. They were on holiday, and he ended up walking home after making his debut for West Ham.
You done a great one of your interviews there. Who was the guy that was a comedian, come bit of an actor, musician? And his story was about Clyde Best jumping on the bus going to the game.
Was that Richard Digest?
Yes, it was. It was Richard Digest, and that was a lovely story, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Clyde Best, because that was some of my early days of going to West Ham was when Clyde Best was playing. So that was a lovely story of it, and it's amazing how Russ, if you look at Noble starting, because
Yeah.
I've been away so long. And my memory's not the best. Right, who do you think instilled what Noble's got today? Who instilled it in him?
Well, I think it's bits I think it's bits and boths. Throughout his career, I think he's learned on. He's always learned. He's always progressed. So you think he started in? So he's 2004. In 2004, I mean the team weren't the team he played with was quite a strange team because it was a cup game. But yeah, I think Jimmy Walker made his home debut as well that day as well. So him and Jimmy. Who else was playing that team? Rufus Brevet. You had Chris Cohen, who was a young lad. You had Trent McClenaghan, who I think was Australian. Nigel Reo-Coker was in the side. A young captain, very young captain at the time, wasn't he? Thomas Repka was in that squad. Teddy Sheringham was in that squad as well. I think he made a big impact. He had a very old school player, weren't he? Treddy was. So I think there's, and it's develops, and obviously Lucas Neal comes in, and then you look at obviously Scott Parker made a huge influence, I think, on his career, and I think even people like Declan Rice still make an influence on his career because he's seeing how the youth are progressing as well. So it's a different type of progression, but he's had loads. I mean, Kevin Nolan I think made a huge impact on his career because obviously, and Big Sam did as well, as he said. So.
Yeah,
I think he's had a lot of people.
That one surprises to me, and I've heard that a couple of times from not more than one player. But as a fan, I look at Sam Allardyce and go, you know. But yeah, he recognises him as a player, as a manager, sort of way, and going, wow, he was influential and he knew his stuff.
Yeah,
but as a fan, we look at him and go,
No, I know, yeah, but I think I know from internally he brought like it up. It was quite old fashioned, and he brought in the nutritionists and the scouts, and it seems silly now, but it's like that was 10 years ago, really, and he was a little bit ahead of his game. Obviously, Harley makes a good point, and so did Kent as well in terms of. Tony Carr and the whole academy. I mean, Tony Carr has been his conveyor belt. Yeah,
he was constant, wasn't he? Of all that era.
Yeah, his conveyor belt starts from Alan Kirbishley and Paul Brush all the way to Declan Rice. Any academy player pretty much that's come through in the last 40 years has come through his academy and come through him. Made it huge. And obviously being a big West Ham fan himself, he instilled that in people. Right, a few more comments, and I've got to go out and get some lunch. Paul, one of my favourite memories of Noble was in the playoff winner versus Preston. He was on the pitch, but he was behind the goal where Zamora scored and was the first to go berserk and jump on Bobby. Yeah, True that. He was indeed. And obviously then when we played Blackpool in the Championship, after winning and getting back into the Premier League, Mark then jumped on a plane he had his stag do in Vegas. So he couldn't celebrate as much. So there we go, famously. I think Colton told me that. But I mean, let's talk about Sunday quickly. What do we think, Kieran? I mean, City have got five. I think they've got potentially five defenders out. Do they really need defenders, City? Do they need defenders?
Mainly, they don't need defenders. They normally play with two at the back anyway, Ross.
Yeah, I know.
And the rest of them up front. So it's not. But look, I believe when you watch them against Wolves the other day, they could have scored 10 against Wolves.
Yeah.
But Wolves could have scored 3 or 4 against them. They do leave themselves open for that counter attack, and Wolves did get one, and they could have had 2 or 3 more.
Yeah.
That's what we got to hope for. I don't care about the formation Moyes puts out at the weekend. What's going to be is like 4 and 5. Right?
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be for most of the game. If we can break quickly, and that odd chance that we do get converted. Well, you never know. I'm not hopeful, guys, but I'm clinging on to something, and that's what it is.
Yeah, and, I'm the same. And it's one of those. Yeah. And sometimes it seems when they play us, occasionally they have one of their off games.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
What we need.
Occasionally they might have an off game, and that's when where it's just they're hitting the post or if it's going slightly wide or that type of thing. I think the trouble is they obviously announced signing Haaland, so someone like Gabriel, someone like
as if they needed him, right? As if they needed him. They didn't even need a striker. Oh, we'll get him.
They could win the league without having a striker. There we go. And I think maybe that's David Moyes that's David Moyes is trying to achieve. But someone like Gabriel Jesus might come and go, right, well, I'm going to show you don't need a £51 million striker. So he might put a bit between his teeth. No luck. Luck.
I think it's a tough. Look, I'm not banking on anything against City. Goes, I'm more worried about trying to get 3 points against Brighton because I've got a funny feeling Palace got every chance to turn over Man United. I don't see why they can't, and I think we can go to Brighton and beat them for the first time in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. We have never beaten Brighton in the Premier League.
Of all the teams, we've done them all.
And Glenn Murray's not even playing for him anymore. That's what makes no sense. Glenn Murray's not playing for him anymore. But you're right. I think we sit, and also the whole thing with Crystal Palace and Vieira. He hates Man United, and obviously that rivalry with Arsenal and Keane. He'd love to do one over them, especially when it's at their place. Selhurst Park is a shithole, and they won't like it. The changing rooms are horrible, and
No, I'm hoping Palace do us all a favour. I know it's like you said, Russ. Vieira's got to be well up for that, mate. He wants to win that, no doubt about it. He'll want to win it.
I think, I fancy.
Our way into Europa is beating Brighton, but that's a tough, ask in itself because of our record with them. And not just that, but the form they've been in lately, they've been looking really good, mate. Really good. So we've got to turn up.
I mean, they have. I mean, we did some. I might do it next week. I was looking at how much squad value is worth against the possession league position, and it's basically us and Brighton are the sort of the two runaway sort of successes this season in terms of how much our squad is worth compared to where we are in the league. Obviously, someone like City are top of their squad value and top of the league, so it sort of matches up. But no, it's and in terms of and going back just to Nobes quickly, obviously the player awards, they renamed the young player award the Mark Noble Award now, which is great, which is lovely. But what would you like to see? What would you like to see to cement his legacy at London Stadium? Obviously, they've got the Trevor Brooking stand, the Billy Bond stand, the Bobby Moore stand. Mark Noble stand or something else?
No, statue, mate. It's got to be a statue.
A statue, but you don't want one like this. Look at Man City. They're doing an Aguero one. Look at the fucking state of that.
What the fuck?
Look at the fucking state of that.
What is that?
That's Sergio Aguero doing his shirt.
That looks like an ice cream advert or something.
It looks awful, isn't it? It looks like that Ronaldo statue that they did in Portugal, which just looked nothing like him. That's appalling. I just think, oh God, they've just just announced it today. So I thought it was quite funny. I had it on just in case we were talking about it.
It looks like a lot of pictures of shit on it already.
Maybe that's the idea, so you'd have to clean it so much. But I think that's meant to be his shirt, but it looks like I don't know. It looks bloody awful. As long as it's not one like that. No, as long as it's not. Right, my man, I'm going to have to go. Thank you very much for joining me. Lovely. Thank you, Kieran.
And thank you for having me, my man.
Absolute pleasure, my friend.
That was good to talk to you eventually. We've been on the chat for years, but it's nice to say hello, Russ.
You too, buddy. And have a nice evening, rest of the evening, what's left of it for you, mate.
All the best.
Cheers, boss. Cheers, man. There was Kieran. Lovely to see Kieran all the way from Australia. What have we got here? Let's do a few more questions and I'm going to skedaddle. Wolves been a poor run. We should give City a real test. I think we will do. Ariel start remaining games? I don't think so. I think he'll stick with Fab. Anil agrees as well. The champs changing. Are there not more spots for Europa, like 6th or 7th, as there are 5? It's changing for next season, isn't it? I think. Is it 20? Or is it the 20? It might be the season. Is it 2014? Is it the 2024, 25? It might be the season after that, I think. But they could potentially be based on coefficiency. It's not guaranteed every. We're at the moment guaranteed 4 spots of Champions League. It's not guaranteed, I don't think. That 5th spot is based on how well we perform in the previous year. It was going to be sort of a historical thing, but they reduced it to like 1 or 2 years, which I think is a lot better. But obviously with, the likes of Newcastle, they're going to be stronger next year. I think Villa are going to be stronger next year. I think I think our best chance of European football for the following season is to try and win the trophy we're in, personally. 1 game week for us must seem like a holiday. It does, doesn't it? We've got nothing to talk about halfway through the year in the week. The Mark Noble DJ booth sounds good. That statue looks like Magic Mike, indeed. A huge statue of Nobes resting the pitch invader. The Mark Noble urinals, lovely. What we got here? If we beat Brighton, we top Man U by goal difference. A draw or win against City would just be extra gravy. You're totally right, Acid. You're totally right. Currently in the league, for anyone who doesn't know, obviously we're 7th. Man United is 6th. We've got 55 points. They've got 58 points. But we've got a game in hand, which is on Sunday, which is the Man City game. So anything will be a Brucey bonus if we get anything in that City game going into the last game of the season. We've got by far even if we lose against City on Sunday, we go into that game knowing if we win, we don't. No, we need to win, and then we go back to 58 points. Then we have to match the scores. There we go. Wolves are on 8th through 50 points. So a point is going to be enough to know because they go to 56. A point will all but guarantee us European football on Sunday because we'd go to 56 points. Wolves, even if they won both of their games, would be 56, but they would have to score 14 goals in 2 games. There we go. Not going to happen. Anyway, a few more comments and we're going to go. Smash those seagulls into the sea. Winners of the Papa John's will qualify for the Hackney Masters Europa League. Sounds great for me. I can see at least 7, but yeah, we're going to do it'd be a big rebuilding job. I said the biggest rebuilding job I think in my time at West Ham, my modern history of supporting West Ham. I think it's the biggest because there will be. And we'll talk about some of them later on in Hammers Headlines. 2 stories as well as something about the London Stadium and UK Athletics leaving the London Stadium. Potentially, to me, Noble is our greatest player. Certainly had a spell. He could have been in the top 4 as a reliable squad player, but stayed with us through it all. He did indeed. He did it my way. You have to think Man United will win the game, which gives you have to go for both our games. You have to indeed. The best thing is 6 points off the next 2 games. That could be amazing. Bonds, I can see, but he won things. Reasons to keep going. Noble staying with things went bad. Very true. And went very bad. Very bad. Also, think about how many times he's worn a patch on his shirt when the sponsors have... He's been for a few patches, hasn't he? Excel Holidays, SBO Bet. Because SBO Bet went out of business, didn't they? There was a time, weren't they, where every sponsor we seemed to have would go out of spot, and there was our shirt sponsor went out of. It was just crazy. The Roberto stand. He doesn't stand. He flaps, isn't it? It's trouble. It should be one of those flappy turnstiles. That should be what we name Roberto after. Anyway, ladies and gents, thank you very much for your time. As I said, if you're watching it and not on the replay, in the comments, put a little comment about your. Sorry, there's flies in here. Put a little comment about Mark Noble. What you thought. All that type of stuff. I'll also, if you're new, Andy, give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, give it a subscribe, hit the bell icon, hit the subscribe button, maybe become a channel member. We'll be doing some the Luxter hasn't got back to me yet, so we're going to rerun the draw for his shirt soon. So if you want to become a channel member, hit the members join button. Automatically entered into our monthly prize draws. Mark your card for next Wednesday. We've got Trevor Morley on the show doing a live Q&A. Anyone's going to the Rusk tonight, I'll be there. I think there's a couple of tickets still available if anyone fancies it. In Romford, 20 quid a ticket, bargain. You get this here from Waldy, Slates, who we've had on the channel, Matthew, well, actually we've had all 4 of them on the channel, Matty Etherington and Trevor Sinclair. Be good night. So I'll be looking forward to that. If anyone wants details, check out E13 events. And I'm sure there's a couple of There might be a couple of tickets left if anyone fancies it, but I'll be there. So, and hopefully we'll see you on Sunday. We won't have a watch along because Anton is swanning around in London with his family. Fair play. I did it last year. I had a lovely time. But we'll try and we'll have a match day morning. So in the morning, if I don't get moved on from anywhere in outside the stadium, so that'll be on Sunday. And then we'll try and do some review show or some stuff live from the supporters club after the game, and try and get a few people on and have a chat about the game, and hopefully our victory over Man City. Jesus, my mind. Wanted to go to see Sir Trevor. Yes, Sir Trevor. Yes, if you're in Colchester, Sir Trevor and Tony Gale are in Colchester tonight. Through Maudeville Promotions as well. So either side of Essex, we've got you covered. They should put a bronze statue outside. Also, he should be knighted for the service of the club. Sir Mark Noble. But as long as it's not like this statue, we're okay. As long as it's not Sergio Aguero statue or Cristiano Ronaldo's statue, which is absolutely appalling. So take care, everyone. Stay safe. Wash those hands. Come on, you irons. Stay lucky, stay cheeky, stay positive. And I'll see you guys very soon. I'll end with our little video I did at the beginning. Bye-bye, my friends. Ta-ta for now.